Hey guys, Loco here with another YouTube video. 2019 is almost over. We only have a few days before it's 2020. Holy, what a year it's been. Thank you for staying with me for the hard times and also the good times. It's been a very exciting year doing full-time content creation and I learned a lot. And going into 2020, I'll personally improve myself a lot and provide better content for you and a lot more. I feel like I didn't do enough and I want to have way more detailed, way more analytical, but still very, very entertaining content for you guys. But enough about myself, let's talk about the video. For you guys today, we're going to be talking about the 10 LCS teams and some of the resolutions they're going to have to make and follow through to be successful in 2020. So without any further ado, let's get right to it. First up, we have Team Liquid, and their New Year's resolution is I will not get complacent. This iteration of Team Liquid has been the most dominant LCS team ever. I don't think that's going to be really contested. You can bring up the old C9 team with High, you can bring up the TSM team with Doublelift and Bjergsen, but none of those teams have been able to accomplish this 4 in a row championship spree, championship like renaissance, whatever the hell you want to call it. Like these last 2 years just put TL so far above the rest. And even in that TSM era, even in that C9 era, there were teams that were competitive with the team. But for this TL, they've just been so freaking dominant. I know, people are going to talk about the clutch, going to game 5 with them, and the other times where teams were close, most notably Cloud9 also, but I'll get to that. The first big subject I want to bring up is championship fatigue. If you've been watching my videos, I'm sure you heard about it a lot. It's when you win so much, you kind of get tired of winning and things become mundane. And yeah, this TL roster won so much in NA. Winning is going to be a little bit mundane for them, especially showing up for LCS. And they've already shown some complacency last year.
I don't care Rumble too much. I'm not sure. I don't really care about Rumble.
People are looking for battles.
I really don't care about Rumble.
Going into game 4, we left open Rumble, but that's pretty much Huni's best champion, and they kind of just snowballed top.
I think them going to game 5 versus Clutch is actually a show of lack of preparedness and respect from TL, not the amazing level that Clutch was able to bring. If TL just played more on point and they were more on point regarding their draft, that would have been an easy series, but because they were complacent, it went all the way to game 5. Also, they have 5 great players. They're just gonna believe in each other and believe that they can turn it on whenever it counts, so it's easy to take things a little bit more chillax. And also, a really big thing is, it's kind of known now that NA is probably the 4th best region, and we can't really do well globally compared to Europe, China, or Korea. So the mindset of let's just be happy with winning in NA, yeah, that's just what we can accomplish. There's not much we can do internationally. It's such a dangerous mindset and kind of easy for TL to fall into since they just haven't had that success internationally and been so dominant in NA. So yeah, a lot of pitfalls for TL, and they're gonna need to be on their toes and making sure they don't get lazy or complacent going into 2020. Next up, we have 100 Thieves, and their New Year's resolution will be, I will be strong during the times of hardship. Their new mid Roma will have his work cut out for him. It is not going to be an easy split. Mid lane in North America is one of the strongest roles just due to the amount of imports, and yeah, it's not going to be easy for this Australian import to really meet the expectations that's kind of set up on them. And speaking of expectations, there's just going to be a lot on this roster due to who's involved. Look at it. Meteos, Zeeks, Papa Smithy, 100 Thieves, the brand, Nadeshot. 100 Thieves is an incredibly popular team, and yeah, the expectations are going to be huge. Also, things will not be easy compared to how it was in 2018 for when they first started out. The competition is much stronger, and there's going to be a lot of comparison due to them carrying over 3 players from the 2018 roster, comparing, oh, they went to spring finals in 2018. How are they going to do in 2020? They're not on the same kind of trajectory. And teams start losing outside of the rift before they lose in the rift, and 100 Thieves and the players that are in this roster has had that problem before, just being a lot of internal drama. Yes, Prolly is gone, yes, Afromo is gone, but I think it's incredibly unfair to just point fingers at Prolly and Afro and be like, they were the problems, like Meteos and Cody weren't the problems at all. This team is going to go through a lot of hardships in 2020, and how they deal with that and how strong they can maintain their internal dialogue and how strong they can be on the rift is going to be so crucial to their success. As for Dignitas, their New Year's resolution will be, I'll be willing to compromise. This Dignitas roster somehow ended up with 3 legendary players in Huni, Froggen, and Afro, and all these players are usually the centerpiece of their team, and they're very strong-willed, and they usually get their way. They're usually the most popular and the most vocal player on their team, and the longer you played, the more you know, and the more you want to lead, and all 3 of these players have been playing for such a long time. I think making compromises in the draft, in the review, in how they play the game will be key in this roster functioning. And yeah, let's see what kind of compromises they'll be able to achieve, because without giving a little, you're not going to get a lot, and there's going to be a lot these players need to give. They're gonna need to make sacrifices they never had to before. They're gonna need to listen in places where they usually were leaders before. And yeah, if they can manage, this Dig will be a dark horse for making playoffs and being strong despite the disastrous offseason. If not, Dignitas' unfortunate doings in offseason will continue into regular season 2020. Now, for GGS, their New Year's resolution is going to be, I will not give up. This is the worst roster on paper. There's no need to sugarcoat this. We talked about it in the 100 Thieves section. Teams lose outside of the Rift first before they really start losing in the Rift. Outside like argument, outside like losing trust comes first before a team starts breaking apart. And it's really hard to be motivated, and it's really hard to work as a team when you're on the losing roster. The good players start blaming the bad players feel worse about themselves and they can't vocalize. It's just a very negative spiral, and a very easy spiral a lot of the bad rosters fall into. They're going to have to set a really great culture internally to scrape just about any kind of wins in the season. And yeah, the last 2 years haven't been greatest for GGS, and if they want to turn that kind of story around, like this year, holy, I don't think it's likely, but if they can do it, what a great story it'll be. GGS, if you can stick to your resolution of not giving up, there should be some hope and there should be some wins going into 2020. Next up, we have C9, and for C9, their resolution is, I'll strive to be the best that I can be. There's a lot of big projects upcoming for C9. Zben needs to find his footing in North America and really be the player that he was in Europe and that he was before. And Blaver, first time, full-time starting, really going to need to prove his worth instead of just being like, I was good when I came in for Svenskeren. I was good when people didn't really have a lot of film on me, when people didn't study me that much. Blaver is good, but these are projects. Like Zeben and Blabber, they're not guaranteed to be good. They are something that C9 is going to have to work on continuously throughout 2020. Also, they have always done better than expected, so I don't think they're going to have that big of a problem with these projects. And I actually think they'll most likely be the other team in finals along with Team Liquid. It's just C9's been there a lot before. They're almost always making at least one final in the year, and they just come up a little bit short to TSM, a little bit short to TL. That's just been their story for such a long time now. C9, your org is one of the best ran in LCS. You're the only org that's able to develop talent and do well at Worlds. The only thing that's missing in the last few years has been that trophy. Don't be okay with just being good. Don't be okay with doing better than other LCS teams. Show us that you can be that #1 team. And yeah, that's your resolution. Strive to be the best team you can absolutely be. Now, moving on to EG, their resolution will be, I will live up to the standards that I have set for myself. They made a grand splash coming back into LCS. They made some big signings. They had a big mouth. I mean, they called themselves a solution for North America. Like,
I'm Nicole LaPointe Jameson, CEO of Evil Geniuses. Before spearheading the oldest brand in esports, my background was in turning around distressed businesses. This makes myself and EG the natural choice to putting out the raging dumpster fire that is North American League of Legends.
this is a team that's not shy to talk about how great they're going to be. If you can live up to it, it'll be a legendary re-entrance back into LCS. If not, #LiveEvil will haunt you, and I promise you, all the LCS orgs that you trash talk, they will come firing back. So yeah, live up to the standards that you have set for yourself. CLG, your New Year's resolution is, I will be confident. They really started to find their footing last year with the Ruin signing, and in summer, they had a great regular season, followed up by a messy playoff plus Gauntlet. That CLG roster had their limitations, but Ruin and Wiggly were really a shadow of themselves when it counted. Like outside of regular season, like the name and the kind of expectation that Ruin and Wiggly built up, they just did not live up to. And also, their bot lane, Stixay and Smoothie, are confidence players, and they have been some of the best players in LCS at their respective roles before, and I would love to see them play at that top level again. CLG, be confident in your own abilities, and you're going to have a great 2020. only a few teams left. Let's move on to FlyQuest. For FlyQuest, your resolution will be, I'll find value in things that others can't see. They've been a bottom tier org ever since franchising. There's been a few bright spots, but honestly, not really. They did not have the most hyphy offseason. They picked up Ignar and Power of Evil, and the players they kept in Turtle and Viper are middle of the pack at best. They're going to have to show that they're seeing value where other people don't, because yeah, this roster isn't the flashiest. This roster just isn't that amazing, and we're gonna get another kind of middling year from FlyQuest if none of these pieces are more than what we see, more than what meets the eye. So yeah, show us that you're finding value in things that other people are not able to see. We're almost at the end, and for Immortals, their resolution will be, I'll prove that others won't define my self-worth. There's a lot of washed up players on this roster, Soads, Xmithty, and Altec, and for a lot of these players, they have such a big chip on their shoulders. Xmithty was deemed the weak link on Team Liquid, the most winningest LCS team. Soads had a horrible year on Misfits. Oh my god, that was probably the worst year of his competitive career. And Altec, he hasn't played pro in almost 2 years. He's been grinding out solo queue in Korea. This roster is going to be last on pretty much everybody's tier list, and yeah, it's time to put up or shut up. Show us that other people's opinion of you is not going to define your own self-worth, and what you bring to the table and how you're going to perform and how others can't see what you're able to do is going to be key in this Immortal roster performing. I personally don't have them rated very highly, but yeah, I mean that's what they have to do, right? Show that we're wrong. Show that you're not washed up. Show that it's not all about the flashy names. It's not all about what have you done for me recently. Like, show that other people like us, the media, the other LCS and LEC teams that didn't pick up these players don't define their self-worth, and they can show that they're still good players and they're going to be a competitor in the game going into 2020. And finally, we have my absolute favorite team of all time, TSM. Your New Year's resolution will be, I will not repeat my past mistake. Dardoch, you've been on 6 different teams. TSM, you've had 9 different junglers. Both of you guys have been making the same mistake over and over again. 2020, it's a new decade. Maybe it's time to finally show you're not going to repeat the mistakes of the past. And also, this goes just beyond Dardoch. Biofrost, he's rejoining TSM at the end of his tenure on TSM. Doublelift didn't consider him good enough. He wanted a new support. Kabe, coincidentally, probably has not much to do with him. It's more on the TSM side. You're a hyped up Danish AD carry joining TSM. We saw how that went last time. And finally, for Bjerg, you doubled down on TSM as an owner, and this will probably be the last team you ever play for. As a captain, as a mid lane of this team, you really have to show that summer was an anomaly. Like, your performance in summer did not live up to the expectation we had for you. In spring, you were that one-man carry. We can talk all day about he didn't have the pieces around him, but that's what a true leader is. Like, you drag your teammates across the finish line. Like, you get the best out of everyone. Yeah, that's something Bjerg's gonna have to show to make sure this TSM roster succeeds. There's so many volatile parts, and if TSM can learn from all the failures of the past, maybe, just maybe, there's gonna be a new age of unironical TSM chants, not the shitty ones that people do at Worlds when TSM isn't there. Ouch. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope for you all that you do something in 2020 that you haven't done in 2019. I hope all these resolutions that I set out for all these teams are something that maybe you follow up on. It's a new decade, and everyone has a chance to be a new version, a better version of themselves. And I hope you guys embrace that all. And if you're not a sub going into 2020, maybe you will be one. Subscribe. Don't forget to like and comment also. Oh, and one last thing. Even in 2020, I'm not gonna be crazy. I'll just be loco. Bye.